Hi guys, it's Emily from Novelle Novels and welcome to today's video. This is my November wrap up part 1. Sorry, having a great morning. Poorly daughter downstairs, so looking after her. So of course I had to film upstairs, which is always great fun. Not. I haven't had much chance to read. It is about 1:45 and I've only read one book yet. Not good for Emily. But kids come first. Anyway, enough rambling. Let's tell you about the books I'm currently reading. You're about halfway through Grapes of Wrath, that I'm buddy reading with Ange from Angie's Book Chatter, Danny from Spinelli Speaks, and Laura from Book Bubbler. Kind of not enjoying it as much as I wanted to. In comparison to Easter Eden, it is nowhere near as good. In Easter Eden, by now, I'd fallen in love with characters. I was enjoying it. It was great. This is a lot slower paced. Characters are okay, it's all okay, the historical fiction bit's okay, but it's not necessarily one that is jumping out to me. It's kind of 3 stars at the moment, dreadfully sorry. About to start this, so by the time this video goes live, I will be probably over halfway through it. And this I'm buddy reading with Gemma from Read a Book Gem. We're going for over 60 pages a day, so yeah, shouldn't take long to read. It is tied with a sweeping story of survival and redeeming love that plunges the reader into one of the world's last wildernesses and with blistering authenticity. That's what I'm going to be reading as soon as I finish doing this video. So hopefully I'll like it. That's one. This I'm needing. For non-fiction November, I need this book, Calm by Fern Cotton. It's already given me some good hints, and I think the way things are this week, I'm going to really need this book. And it's all right. It's quite easily written. Don't know if I'll rate it. Don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. But it is helpful. It's got some good handy hints. And it's quite good. So take those downstairs. This will definitely be done by the time this video goes live, because I only started it yesterday. And I was literally 145 pages yesterday. So I'm going to get through this. It's historical fiction. Although it's second in the series and I haven't read the first. So I got given this as a Christmas present from Gemma from Read a Book Gem, and I wanted to read it. It's set in London 1937, with a new king in place and talk of another war. Tensions are rising in London and across Europe. There's some characters I love. It's diverse. There's great characters. Yes, you can tell it's Antoine de Bec's writing because of the dancing and because of certain other lovely elements. But I'm loving it. It's brilliant. It's great. And I can't wait to read it after a tiger. Really can't wait to get to that. Then my library book, which is, again, I'm over halfway through, so this will definitely be read by the time this goes. Nearly halfway through. I really can't wait to read this tonight. It's Dog Show by Fiona Gibson. Funny book about dogs. Nice, easy contemporary, great fun. Library book, so it's going back on Saturday. Loving it. It's just the fun kind of Fiona Gibson writing that I love. So those two are great. So now it's the books that I've read. I think I've done well. It's the 15th that I'm recording this. Bang, halfway through the month. And I've already read 17 books. 1 or 2 of them are quite short. So I've only got, on my shelf, I've only got one more book on my set TBR that's a buddy read. And that is And the Mountains Echoed, which I start next week. So now I can, after these, I can mood read for the rest of the month. Yay! I've got one historical fiction up there that I'm definitely going to mood read. Not sure if I'm going to mood read the library book that I've got or whether I'm just going to go with another contemporary. I've got some fun ideas. I'm going to mood read the second half and I can't bloody wait. Because this first half of the month is not gone as well as I wanted. I've got 2 non-rated, 2 2 stars, and you know how rare they are. 3 3 stars, 1 3.5, 5 4 stars and 4 5 stars. You guys would say that's a pretty good reading month, but for me, it's a push. The reading books that are 5 stars are one that I expected to be 5 stars. In some ways, I automatically before I even read them, but we'll get them in the end. I'm not going to get you guys to guess what my favourites are because there's only 4, and I've got kind of, to be honest, I can hardly pick between my favourites. So I've changed my mind about that. I'm not going to say a favourite because all 4 are fantastic. The 2 non-rated are obviously non-fiction, so I don't feel qualified to rate them. My favourite of the 2 of these, though, is definitely The Confessions of a Bookseller by Sean Beithell. Bloody enjoyed this. It's such a good fun. It's got books in it, bookshops in it. It's got the author's a great guy who makes me laugh with his sense of humour. It's the Scottish sense of humour. diaries for a whole year of him, and it's brilliant. Just what you need. Love it. So that's a cutie. Don't like this one as much. I really like the Queen Victoria book, and this is the book on the Princes of War, and if I was to rate it, it probably would get a low rating. It's not the best rating, so it's all right. It's just not fantastic. It's about all the different princes. Now, I know that King George II, I remembered very briefly that one of his brothers died during the war, but this does talk about that. It talks about his youngest brother that I think he moved away, he moved abroad, and obviously we all know what his eldest brother did and cheated, chose him. But then looking at it, would we choose marriage over the country? I don't know. It must have been a hard choice. So it's all right. It's got some pictures, just not the kind of style writing. So that's going my first bye to the charity shop. Bye. It's gone. It's all right. If I was to rate it, I'd probably rate it 2 or probably a 3-star, because I don't hate it. I just didn't love it. Now to my 2 2-star books. I really didn't like it. They're 2 stars because they had something in them, but my first one was The Shadow King, which I was reading with Roz from Scally Dangling Books and Kadja from Kadja Reads and Writes. They liked it a lot more than me. There are so many triggers in this that I found so hard. Rape, abuse, wartime things, descriptions. The writing style kept jumping on the timelines. I kept getting lost. Really struggled with this book. The thing that gave it the 2 stars was the descriptions of the locations and things like that was written well. For me, it was very hard hitting. It was set in Ethiopia. Really wasn't my style. Going bye-byes, not for me at all. I can't describe why I didn't like it. This one, The Throne of Swans, I wanted to like it. It's very YA, very fantasy. Not my style at all. Swans, they scare the crap out of me. But this wasn't about swans. It was about sort of fantasy and baddies and goodies, and I just didn't like it at all. Really not my kind of style. Just not at all for me. Just nah. Not keeping that. Not at all. Too fancy, too yucky. No. Charity shop. One that I picked for my TBR. You remember that was my try chapter tag books, and yet this was only 3 stars. This was nowhere near as good as the other book that was my try chapter. It was all right. It's very middle of the road. It's my 3 stars. Very middle of the road. Very much about the sisters. Very just meh. Easy to read, short enough chapters. Just meh. Can't really describe it. Talks about the sisters, her friends. This is really about the mum, the young lady's mum and her friends, and they're all their sort of tribulations and stuff. But there is a lot more hard-hitting stuff in here than I expected. A lot harder stuff, and it makes you think about how our parents do shape us and things like that. It was just all right. It wasn't anywhere near as good as I wanted, but it's off my shelf now, so bye. One of my subscribers saw that I rated this as only 3 stars and said she couldn't wait to hear what I thought of it because she guessed it wasn't good because I didn't write a review. Yeah, kind of hint on Goodreads. If I don't write a review, it's not that brilliant, or it's that I just don't know what to say. Back Home by Michelle Margarian, who wrote Goodnight Mr. Tom. Goodnight Mr. Tom was 5 stars. Loved it through and through. This was very middle of the road. Very okay. Very much YA or middle grade. 12-year-old Rusty is back in England after 5 years in the USA, and she goes on about how great the USA was and how times were great there, and she was treated more grown up and and yet her mum didn't accept her, and you think, well, yeah, kind of life was difficult over here, and you wanted to feel sorry for her, but there were times that I got annoyed at her. And then their dad comes back and he was a bastard, let's be honest. Complete arse, complete bugger, really horrible, nasty to her younger brother, nasty to her mum. Obviously, the world had progressed over the war, that women had started to stand up for themselves, started to do mechanics, started to work, started to do that. Whereas her dad was old school. Women stayed at home and did that. She wasn't allowed to work. And Rusty was trying to stick up for her mum, trying to stick up for her brother. It was a lot hard hitting than I expected, but not as easy to written. I don't know. It was middle of the road. It was all right. Just, no, not going to read that again. So I hope that's enough for you, Victoria. I really hope. Sorry about that. Then my buddy read for the month with Chloe, The Chalk Man by CJ Tudor. Again, 3 stars. It was all right. I thought I was going to be petrified with this. So either I'm getting a backbone and not being scared as much, or, yeah, it just wasn't. It was quite slow paced. I thought I'd be more petrified. I thought I'd be scared. Yes, there were some gory scenes. There were some bits where I went, ugh. And there were some bits where I went, oh no, I don't like this bit. And there were some twists that I didn't expect. Right at the very end, there was a big twist that I didn't expect. But it was just a lot slower pace than I expected. It was good, and I'm glad I read it. And I may pick up a TJ Tudor again. Just not as good as I hoped it was going to be. And certainly nowhere near as scary as I thought. So this one's charity shopping. Now to the 4 stars, which are a lot better. I enjoyed them. Brilliant. Happy with them. 4 stars were good. I don't know how many of them I'm going to keep. I think maybe 1 or 2 I'm keeping, but the rest, no. I've got so many books on my shelves, and obviously we've got Christmas coming up. I'm going to have even more. So the first one is The Spitfire Sisters by Margaret Dickinson. Great wartime book. The reason why I think this is 4, not 5, is because of the size of it. A lot is packed in this book, and it's there's lots of characters, lots of key storylines, lots of things that you have to keep your head into it to really not get lost. Mainly it's about Daisy Maitland and her friends, but we've got other relatives that were involved in the war, romances, things like that. The way women are game fighting. This Daisy was a really strong character who I loved. I loved her so much. I loved that she went against people and she wanted to fight in our war. She wanted to fight for us, and she was brilliant. Very hard hitting, brilliant. I love this author's work. 4 stars, but it's a good 4-star book. It was really enjoyable. Talked about the Spitfire Sisters, and I think, you know, that sort of time, the women that fought in the war for us, and they fought and they did great stuff, and loved it, really loved it. Don't know if Mum's going to borrow this, actually. I might lend that to Mum. I think she might like that, actually. It's a mummy book. Then I think this one, yeah, I had it on my TBR shelf. This is bloody emotional. Go into this with tissues aplenty, and I got warned about this by Gemma. It's about a lady who has early onset dementia, early onset and Alzheimer's, and the name of your firstborn, the name of your lovers. What would happen if your memory began to fade? Is it possible to rebuild your life, raise a family, fall in love again? This is brilliant. This is really, really cosy, really heartbreaking, really emotional, beautifully written. I will pick up more of this author's works. It was great, but boy, did you need the tissues. I will not read this again because it will kill me if I read it again. But it's one, if you want to tackle disabilities and illnesses and things like that, then this is really great at this. It does tackle independent women. It does tackle romance really sweetly. There's so many great things, and the kids in this are great. Just so many great characters. I love this book. But yeah, I won't keep it because it's too emotional. Then my book for Insta book tours, What If? This is an independent published book. My review is up on Instagram. It is hard hitting. It tackles suicide. It tackles mental health. It tackles depression, anxiety really well, but it's very hard hitting. So go into this with your eyes open. Again, it's brilliantly well written. If you want a quick, short and sharp book, great, but very hard hitting. So I'm going to have to keep that because it's my own copy and it's got my name on it. So it needs to go somewhere. I don't know where yet, but it'll go somewhere. This is a book that I was gifted for my birthday by Becca from Becca's Bookshelves, I think. It's really good. I'm going to keep this and I might lend it to someone else. This is a good 4 stars. It's more of a mystery than I would say a historical fiction. Glass House isn't really about a murder or in a creepy house, but about families and ones that we're born into, the ones that we make, and especially the ones we flee. I'm not going to tell you too much about this because it's more of a mystery than a historical fiction, but it is very mysterious. It should not have been on my historical fiction shelf. It should have been on my mystery and thriller shelf. Very good, very creepy. I will definitely look for more of this author's works. If anyone wants to, Gemma, if you want to borrow it, let me know. You can borrow it, but it's quite creepy and quite good. It's a borrow book. This is a keepy one. Now, a book that my sister is going to have because she already wants it. Love After Love by Ingrid Persaud. I buddy read this with Nikki from Red Dot Reads. It's a 4 stars, but it's good. Now, my sister Charlie was like, how can you only rate it 4 stars? Because she'd read it online and she thought it was one of the best books. But there are so many frigging triggers in this that I did not expect. And oh my God, so many moments where I was crying, so many moments where I just wanted to shout at some of the characters. Some of the characters I wanted to hug. Again, there were very real triggers in this for self-harming. I'm not going to tell you who. There are triggers in this, so you have to go into that, be warned. I can let you know more of them if you want to know what they are. Let me message me privately and I'll let you know. But About three very strong characters. You've got Betty, Mr. Cheaton and Solo. And very different, very great characters, very diverse, very brilliant, greatly well written, but very, very hard hitting and a lot harder hitting than I expected. So brilliantly well written. I would definitely read more of this author's work, but couldn't read this again. This will break my heart. So Charlie, you're having that. Now to my 5-star books. Oh, I did also have a 3.5-star book called The Forget-Me-Not Bakery, which I borrowed from the library, and that was 3.5 stars. Really good, really cozy bakery, American-y kind of book. Very romantic, brilliant. So now to my 5 stars. We've got Johnny Be Good, which was my book for the Page Toon buddy read. Love Page Toon. If you are watching this, she is my favourite author, which you all know. She is one of the nicest ladies you could ever talk to. When I let her know that I've lost the pictures for the dates of all the buddy reads, and I said, could she send it to me? Because I've gone off Facebook, I've gone off social media, I'm having a real trying to look after my mental health. And I said, could she send it to me? And she did. And she said that she hopes I felt better. And she messaged me a few times and she was lovely. This book, second time reading it, now I know why it's one of my favourites books. It may be the second time I read it, but it's going to be one of my favourites. It is probably one of my favourite of Page Toon's books, even though it's only a second one. And it's about Johnny. And it left on the note where I can't wait to pick up Baby Be Mine, which we're reading in February, I believe, which is the sequel to this. Cannot wait. I was like, why are you making me wait this long? And she's also going to write a short story about Johnny, because you could write so many books on these characters, and I know they do appear in a few of our other books. This is brilliant. I love this book. It is just every bit of excitement. Johnny's a rock star and he does so many naughty things and you want to smack him, and his Meg is like the good PA who's a goody two shoes almost, but she's great and she stands up for herself and she's beautiful and strong. And then you've got his friend Christian, and he's a bit of a, never sure what to make of him. You see more about him in the second book, but brilliant book. Loved it rereading. It's probably just one I could read a million times over. Then obviously you know one of my other favourite authors, Bridget Kemner, Defy the Night. It's for her new series, and yes, yet again she didn't disappoint. It's fantasy, bit close to the bone because of the illness that's going around in this, and we've still got COVID shit going on and we're never gonna flipping get out of it. Bit close to the bone on that, but yeah, she wrote it just before COVID and she had to apparently change scenes because of COVID. In a kingdom where sickness stalks the streets, it's only the richest that can afford the cure. Well, that's not happening here. Though riches can protect themselves a bit more. You can't protect yourself from what we're going through unless you get vaccinated. We don't go there, do we? King Harriston and his brother Prince Cormac are forced to rule with an iron fist. And then you've got Tessa Cade, who is a masked outlaw, marked for death. Together with the mysterious, handsome Weston, she robs from the rich to help the poor. It's bloody good. There are twists in here that I didn't expect. Romances that you didn't expect. Heartbreaking scenes, brilliant scenes. Thoroughly bloody loved it. Page Toon does not disappoint. Now, one of my favourite middle grade authors, Anna James, obviously this is the fourth in the Book Smugglers in the Pages & Co series. I've loved the other three. Love this every bit. I've loved this even I think more than the third book, the Book Smugglers, and I think the next book's not going to contain the lovely because this is more about Tilly. But Milo comes into it, and Milo's strong in it. And there's other characters that aren't in the other books, but are in this book, and it's brilliant. It's a magical book. I'm not going to tell you too much because it's friggin' amazing. But I loved it. Pages & Co. If you want middle grade, if you want fantasy, if you want books about books, it is bloody brilliant, and I loved it. Thank you, Charlie, for lending it to me. You're the best. Then last but not least, the comfort book, which yes, I shouldn't have rated because I don't rate non-fiction normally, but it was 5 stars. Matt Haig book. Again, this is one I'm going to again reread over and over again. It's brilliant about mental health. This I've saved a page because there's a quote here that I think I need to read over and over again. And today, the day I'm having today, I need to probably read it. One day this will be over and we will be grateful for a life in a way that we never felt possible before. And that to me was really hard hitting because, let's be honest, you know, we're all going through it still. Let everything that happened to you, beauty and terror, just keep going. No feeling is final. That's true. We'll get through this. We're getting through our next bout of crap, but we'll get there. So this is brilliant. It's got so many great sayings in it that I've saved and I will love. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel and not subscribed yet, ring on my ding-a-ling. And let me know in the comments below, what was your favourite book you've read this month so far? I'd love to know. Take care to all of you, and I hope you all have a lovely rest of the reading month. Bye-bye.